And
We
I think
had like a really, well, I mean, you know this, anybody that saw Hate Department had a very, punk persona. I mean,
yeah.
the character that I created, which, in truth was kinda created out of fear and stage fright.
Oh,
Um,
wow.
yeah,
Okay.
that kind of be confrontational and be aggressive as a way to, temper my own insecurity about holding a microphone in front of people, you know? Yeah, but, I
Terrifying thing to do.
it is. We got, you know, obviously Hate Department, we toured like crazy, as your show the name of your show suggests, I threw myself at Hate Department wholly. I made so many sacrifices, and I I couldn't even afford ramen for a long time because,
Oh,
I
wow.
was so immersed in making Hate Department go. This was obviously before a real turning point for Hate Department was around September 11th, you know, that, like, that was a pivotal point for the United States. It was a pivotal point for my band because then all of a sudden Hate Department got scary. It went from being kind of bumper sticker safe, you know, there,
Yeah.
a lot of media figures played into Hate Department because it was safely dangerous, right?
Sure, sure.
But all of a sudden, September 11th, the world got really dangerous because of, you know, attack on US oil, all that kind of stuff. But before that, we toured like crazy, so I got good at being that, punk archetype.
Yeah, yeah.
Right.
It's interesting how major events in the world will have impact on it almost seems like the industrial scene is a little bit of a target or a punching bag for these things that seemingly to anybody with common sense would have nothing to do with it, right? But like you mentioned September 11th, and I remember Columbine and KMFDM and obviously Manson, took
Columbine
the
was huge for yeah, Columbine was
yeah,
huge.
and suddenly, like, if you were anything resembling, like, the goth kid, now you weren't just, like, weird or artsy, you were, like, dangerous and something
Dangerous.
feared, you know?
Mhm. Yeah.
And, like, the industrial scene and those bands had nothing to do with Columbine and Hate Department, I think it's safe to say had nothing to do with September 11th, but it's
Nothing. I mean, they're just
yeah,
and they're words and they're just artists, whether I'm not saying I'm a, Sasha guy or a Manson guy, but, I've met Brian. He's a very, very smart person, very smart.
absolutely.
S
Yeah.
incredibly self-destructive at that era that he was, but, my gosh, what an intelligent person. I know Sasha pretty well. I mean, we had the same manager for a while, and, like, this isn't like I said, this isn't about how I feel about them, their art and their messaging platforms. They're very, very smart people who
Yes.
in their hearts wouldn't hurt a fly. They're not interested in harm. They might disagree with people, but yeah, to see the way those acts in particular got just dogpiled for a while is kinda good.
Ugh.
But this is the world we live in, you know, that, like, now you don't have to be anybody to get dogpiled. You can have the wrong opinion, you can have the, uh yeah, you can be too promiscuous and get dogpiled. It's weird that we kinda, like, live in our society has become this thing where we all get to publicly, attack one another over differences.
Yeah.
Dude, I grew up with a very punk ethos. I know you know this, I'm an anarchist still. I'm anti-statist, I'm not a political figure at all. I don't
Sure.
no one's gonna tell me what to do. I'm gonna do what I'm not supposed to do. So to think that we've kind of, like, moved towards a more, conservative, mindset as especially in America, what the hell happened? We're not supposed to be
Yeah.
attacking one another for, differences. We're not supposed to be embracing differences, but we're supposed to be this country is supposed to be live and let live,
Yeah.
period.
Well, and even the music scene, especially the punk scene and then the industrial scene that I think we can all agree kinda grew out of that punk scene. It
But
was all
industrial's punk. That's why you
yeah,
got into it. You got into industrial because it was the continuation of the punk ethos, but it looked cooler, you
right.
know?
But, yeah, I mean, that was the place where you express frustration with everything that's going on.